A new debate has quietly but firmly taken over global K-pop spaces, and at the center of it are two of the most recognizable names in modern music, two highly discussed remix releases, and one record that fans refuse to let go of without a fight. Across social platforms, timelines, and chart-focused communities, fans are now disputing whether BTS's Kim Taehyung, known worldwide as V, still holds the record for the biggest Spotify debut by a K-pop soloist with a remix release, or whether Blackpink's Jennie has now challenged that milestone with her own recent collaboration. The renewed discussion traces back to the debut performance of V's remix of White Christmas, released in collaboration with the legendary Bing Crosby. When the track dropped, it immediately drew attention not only for its unexpected pairing, but for its sheer streaming power. Within its first day on Spotify, the remix reportedly recorded approximately 3.8 million filtered streams and around 4.73 million unfiltered streams. At the time, these numbers circulated rapidly across fan communities and music news outlets, with many describing the release as the strongest Spotify debut ever achieved by a K-pop soloist for a remix track. What made the White Christmas remix particularly notable was its positioning. Unlike conventional remixes that simply rework a recent release, this project bridged eras, combining Taehyung's contemporary vocal color with one of the most iconic holiday songs in Western music history. Industry observers described it as both a tribute and a reinterpretation, blending nostalgia with modern global fandom reach. The track found its way onto major holiday playlists, attracted casual listeners beyond the K-pop audience, and received attention from Western media outlets that rarely engage with remix releases from Korean artists. For months, the remix was referenced as a benchmark, especially within discussions about soloist performance on global streaming platforms.
Hey Army! Quick pause before we keep going. If you're loving these BTS updates, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and join our family of global fans. That way, you'll never miss a single record-breaking moment. All right, let's jump back into the story.
However, the conversation resurfaced after the release of Jennie's Dracula remix featuring Tame Impala. Almost immediately, comparisons began to circulate. Supporters of Jennie argued that her remix's debut performance rivals and possibly challenges the record previously attributed to V. Screenshots, chart placements, and streaming totals began flooding timelines, reigniting a debate that quickly grew more complex than simple numbers. At the core of the dispute lies a fundamental question that often complicates chart discussions. How should remix releases and collaborations be classified? Fans defending V's record emphasize that White Christmas was officially labeled, distributed, and reported as a remix. They argue that despite Bing Crosby's prominent credit, the release was positioned as a reinterpretation of an existing recording rather than a newly created collaboration in the traditional sense. On the other hand, opposing voices claim that the presence of Bing Crosby's vocals, even through archival material, places the release closer to a collaboration than a standard remix. From this perspective, they argue that comparing it directly to Jennie's Dracula remix, which features an active contemporary artist like Tame Impala, creates an uneven framework. Jennie supporters further highlight the remix's genre crossover appeal. With Tame Impala's psychedelic influence and her own established global fan base, the track reached listeners outside typical K-pop circles. They point to playlist placements, listener demographics.
Hey Army! Quick pause before we keep going. If you're loving these BTS updates, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and join our family of global fans. That way, you'll never miss a single record-breaking moment. All right, let's jump back into the story.
And cross-genre engagement as indicators that the remix represents a new type of global K-pop collaboration, one that may warrant separate consideration from earlier remix benchmarks. Another layer fueling the debate is the distinction between filtered and unfiltered Spotify streams. Filtered streams reflect the numbers officially recognized by Spotify's charting system after adjustments for abnormal activity, while unfiltered streams represent raw play counts before those filters are applied. Depending on which metric fans choose to emphasize, conclusions about which remix performed better can shift dramatically. As a result, both sides have leaned heavily on selective data, reinforcing opposing narratives rather than resolving the question. The absence of a definitive statement from official bodies has further intensified speculation. Organizations such as Spotify, Billboard, and record labels like HYBE have not issued updated clarifications regarding whether the original record designation still stands or how newer remix releases should be evaluated under evolving chart standards. Without that confirmation, fan-driven interpretations have filled the gap, turning the discussion into a broader conversation about how success is measured in the streaming era. Beyond the technicalities, many observers note that the debate itself reflects how rare it is for K-pop soloists to reach this level of impact. Remix releases, which historically generate modest attention, are now debuting with multi-million stream counts within hours. The fact that fans are arguing over which artist achieved the larger debut highlights how dramatically the global position of K-pop solo acts have shifted. For Taehyung, the discussion arrives amid continued recognition of his influence, both within BTS and as a solo artist. His releases consistently draw attention across languages, age groups, and regions, often transcending seasonal or genre limitations. Meanwhile, Jennie's remix collaboration underscores her expanding presence within Western and alternative music spaces, further cementing her position as one of the most internationally visible K-pop soloists. Some fans have attempted to de-escalate the debate by emphasizing that both releases achieved extraordinary results by industry standards. From this viewpoint, the focus should not be on which artist holds a technical record, but on the fact that K-pop soloists are now operating in a space once reserved for the biggest global pop stars. Still, for dedicated chart watchers and record trackers, the question remains unresolved. Until official platforms clarify how remix records are categorized and compared, the debate continues to circulate, fueled by passion, pride, and the competitive nature of fandom culture. As BTS prepares for its full group return with Era Ring, and Jennie continues to expand her solo discography through high-profile collaborations, moments like this underline a larger truth about the current music landscape. Records are no longer just numbers on a chart. They're symbols of reach, cultural relevance, and global visibility. Whether V's White Christmas remix ultimately retains its record status, or Jennie's Dracula remix reshapes the narrative, both releases stand as markers of how far K-pop soloists have come. In the absence of official verdicts, one conclusion remains widely accepted across the industry. The bar has already been raised, and the global audience is paying attention.